Hey guys, what's up? It's time for some mailbag here on Friday. I'm going to be playing some Torchlight 2, I guess you could see over here. Um, I'm actually playing the... Fuck. I forgot what the class is. But it's the ranged class that uses bows and stuff like that. I was playing an engineer the other day. I actually like this class a lot better. So that'll just be on in the background while answering some questions. We're coming in from formspring.com/itmeJP, and let's go ahead and just jump straight to it. From DH1498, any particular reason as to why you stopped playing StarCraft? Not really. It's not that I lost interest or anything. It was just that the game became more of a playing it for the public rather than for myself, if that makes sense. I obviously have interest in StarCraft and everything like that. I just get too stressed out when I play it, and it's this expectation of myself to be better than I actually am. Because I was Masters Random for quite some time in the first kind of 6 months of the game coming out. And going back now, I do things that I know are wrong. And because of that, I still do them. And that's really upsetting to play. It's really hard to relate this to someone unless it happens. It happens to you. And I don't know how to do that other than it happening to you. So yeah, maybe one day. I do have Heart of the Swarm. I've probably played 5 or 10 games. The units seem great. It's going to probably be an awesome expansion, especially for esports, just because of how the units are going to work into the mechanics of the game. But like I said, it's that expectation of myself doing better than I actually do. And when it comes to streaming, I'm not the most exciting to watch when it comes to StarCraft, so I'd rather play something that I enjoy doing, so that kind of relates to the viewers, and hopefully they can see that. So thanks for the question. Let's see here. We got a lot of questions. I'm just gonna kind of turn through these. How sustainable is your current work, as in making video, streaming, etc.? If it is not, how long do you plan to continue trying to do it? From Peter Clement. How sustainable is the current work? It's not bad. How can I phrase this without getting in trouble with? Right now, I'm making obviously less than I was at MLG, but it's still kind of in the growing phase. to sound kind of stupid and say that, but I'm okay enough for probably about a year of doing this until I can finally be like, okay, this isn't working out, I need to try something else. But I've actually seen growth kind of from all angles, from Twitch, from YouTube, and all that. So sustainable, I think that we're getting somewhere, and I think that because of that, it'll definitely work out. I don't have any problems. It's more just being consistent. You know, when World of Warcraft came out last week, and I basically took a week off, and that was just because some other things going on that I just didn't feel like doing content. But now I've kind of, this week I've set up the schedule, I set up the calendar for the YouTube channel, and I'm streaming 5 days a week now at 6 o'clock EST over at twitch.tv/itmeJP. So the hardest part about it is just staying motivated, because you are your own manager, and at the end of the day, I could turn this off right now, go fucking watch porn, eat some Cheetos, and go swim in my pool, but at the end of the day, that's not actually going to make me any money. Maybe if I stream it, it will, but in fact, it probably would make me a little bit more money than I am right now, but it wouldn't last for long. Twitch would close the account, obviously. But is it sustainable? Right now, no, but I'm okay with that. It's obviously still growing, and hopefully that once we get kind of state of the game back, I think that's probably the biggest benefactor that I have right now, that currently isn't live. Real Talk needs to get back into the swing of things. We kind of took a break there. How long do I continue to try doing it? I don't know, maybe a year. I think that it's been so little time since I've left MLG that I haven't even really been able to kind of figure out what that really means. And for a while there, I kind of thought, well, did I make the right decision? Was it correct in leaving the company? Should I be in New York right now? And I think a day or two ago, I finally said, yeah, I made the right decision. I feel like right now I'm where I'm supposed to be. So thank you for the question. From Dabby Conger, I'm about to make a chocolate cake. Which would you prefer to have wet? White chocolate middle or dark chocolate middle? I've never had like a white chocolate middle cake that's has like the gooey stuff inside, unless it's just some weird troll that I'm being trolled right now. So I guess dark chocolate. I don't really know. What suggestions do you have to upcoming community casters not game specific questions unless it's Dota 2? Be consistent. I think that's the number one thing in kind of anything internet culture related is always have content when you say you're going to have content, and try to be in people's minds and eyes as much as possible. One of the problems right now with the current scene is that it's just so saturated, and everyone knows this. I mean, when we do Esports Weekly on Mondays, there are nights where MLG, NASL, Evil Geniuses Master Cup, IPL, and something. I think that's it. But basically, like, these huge, giant leagues all have content going on at the same exact time. Sometimes even the same players playing in two different tournaments, because a lot of them are cast from replays. It's an insane time right now because of how much content there is, and it's going to be a while before kind of it gets weeded out. In fact, it'll probably be a good year or so. I think it's just going to get crazier and crazier. In terms of shows, I mean, at any time of the day, in the middle of the night, 3 a.m., when I was on that messed up sleep schedule, you could go over to Team Liquid, and they would have like shows on at 3 a.m. and it would be good content. Like, it's insane right now how much content there is. So the biggest thing I'd say is be consistent. Second biggest thing is create original content. The reason I think Real Talk kind of came out of nowhere was that it was original content. People have been doing interviews, but it was a specific kind of interview that no one's doing. Most interviews are kind of 5-10 minutes long. They're very generic questions. You don't really get to know the person. That's why Real Talk is kind of flourished, to mess up that word. State of the Game, it grew very quickly because it was kind of the first talk show for StarCraft 2. Sure, Live on 3 existed, but it wasn't really StarCraft 2 specific. State of the Game was really kind of a first of its kind. Now a lot of people have different State of the Games. I mean, the Good Studio is great. Inside the Game is good. There was the Heart of the Swarm podcast that just came out the other day that had QXC, Todd, a couple other guys. That was great. And now that's kind of a very saturated type of content. So I think that the biggest thing, be consistent. Second thing, have something unique. Give people a reason to tune into your show over the other people, whether it's who you have on the show, what the show is doing. Take a look at Diapollo. He released the guides, and now he's redoing them, and they're actually better produced, better quality. And a lot of that, they're doing well because a lot of it is just his exposure and the amount of fans that he has right now. He's definitely the biggest, I actually would say the most popular caster right now. He has been kind of all over the place the past 2 or 3 weeks, while the Day 9s and the Tastelesses and Artoses have been doing their content still, but it hasn't been kind of in the front of everyone's eyes. And GSL obviously still there for Nick and Dan, and those matches are going to be pretty big here coming up, so it's going to kind of shift again, where we have MVP versus Rain, which is going to be an incredible match, which I definitely think people should check out. But Dota 2 is kind of in an interesting place right now because it's growing. Its casters are somewhat solidified, kind of the big ones, but you can still make a name for yourself. But I gotta say, if you don't have the voice, the style of casting, you need to have everything figured out for your casting. And if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. That's just something that you kind of have to accept. You can't change your voice. Well, you can, but it requires surgery and it requires a lot of vocal lessons. So there you go. Good question. Let's see here. Let's keep going down. Here we go. From Rice132. How do you think the League of Legends World Championships tournament ranks as an event in terms of production value, entertainment, etc.? Up there with the best esports events despite the fact that you aren't necessarily the biggest League fan. I think that the World Championship, from the little that I watched yesterday, it's good. It's obviously really good. I like the first thing that stood out to me was they have 4 soundproof booths, but 2 of them are back to back, and they have a spinning stage, which it's kind of ridiculous. There were some things that, kind of as a production-minded person, I noticed that I didn't enjoy, but they were very little, like the desk taking up like 30% of the screen, sometimes 50% of the screen. That's a little bit silly. I'd rather see kind of a bust-up caster or like 10%, 90% desk to caster ratio to make something up. The lighting, they were outside, so the lighting was kind of awkward. If you actually take a look at my face right now, I can't see what I look like, but I'm pretty sure that half of it is lit, half of it is not. And they didn't have any lights outside because they were obviously outside. It's really hard to light against the sun. So that was cool. But in terms of the best esports events, I definitely think it is. I kind of want to hold that comment until I see the final championships next weekend, which I think are taking place at a big stadium somewhere in Southern California, some college sports stadium. I don't know too much about it, but pretty excited for that. We'll have to see how it goes. But yeah, I think to steal from Toby, I believe what he says is true, where Riot is basically, and this might give me some shit, but Riot is kind of buying into esports. They're putting on an event probably that has the most money into it. I would assume that they hired all of their production team. Doesn't look like it's in-house, unless they have a bunch of in-house talent like that. I mean, they do want to do a season, so maybe they did hire some talent, some production staff. They do have talent on staff, but it was just announced today that Rotelli, who used to be head of Blizzard Esports from Wizards of the Coast, left Blizzard about a week or 2 ago, and it was kind of suggested, or it was almost kind of a laughing comment. Well, I bet you he goes to Riot. And then he ended up going to Riot, which kind of insane. I wonder if kind of behind the scenes, if Riot and Blizzard are actually kind of at ends with each other, if there's a big competition there. Obviously, they're never going to say that they are in public, but I would think there is. I mean, that's a pretty big move to basically steal someone like that and throw more money at them. But I don't know. We'll see. To kind of go back to your question, I enjoy League of Legends on some level. Obviously, I enjoy Dota 2 more, but I can respect League of Legends to some degree. So I'll be watching the World Championship a little bit more. What has been your favorite esports moment you have been a part of? BlizzCon 2011 was pretty good for the GSL finals. I was in the front row for that, but I wasn't really a part of that. I was just part of the crowd. I would say the one that I was probably the biggest part of was MLG Anaheim, because I produced that event, and on Saturday night when we did the Kespa players, that was really awesome. I was sitting next to Lee Chin, one of the senior VPs of MLG Sundance, and Adam Apsella, the other senior VP, and that was really, really awesome. And to be able to see kind of Flash, J-Dong, all the big names walk up on stage and kind of introduce them to StarCraft 2 in the Western world, at least. That was a really cool moment. We were all a little bit taken back when that happened. So I think that's definitely my favorite esports moment. Let's see here. Here's a question. People still use FormSpring? Question mark. You know, if you guys want me to set up an email, let me know in the comments. I can easily do that. FormSpring is a pretty simple thing. You don't have to log in or anything like that. You can submit random accounts. But if you want me to set up an email, I will. If that's easier for you guys, just let me know what you guys enjoy better. Name a thing that rhymes with itmeJP. Well, that's kind of tough. itmeJP. I don't know. I'm not that clever right now. I'm sorry. Here's one that I answer every fucking day. JP, stop beating around the bush. Why haven't you restarted State of the Game yet? State of the Gate yet? Well, that's not an actual show. I forgot the M. Every time you answer this, you give a pretty vague answer. E.g., we are waiting on something, etc. We're waiting on contracts. I've said that a billion times now. I don't know how many more times you guys want me to say it. In fact, I'm sure people that watch a lot of this content are tired of me talking about it. There are certain things that the community simply can't know. That's the nature of the business. And that's not to say that there's something nefarious going on behind the scenes. It's just contracts. It's business. There is no industry in the world that is as transparent as I think the community believes esports to be. Esports is definitely one of the most transparent, though. But at the end of the day, I can't go, hey, this is what we're showing to people right now. We're figuring out the contract. It has been very, very slow, and that is because just of all the travel and all the other things that the people related with the show are doing. So when they do have time, they finally sit down and negotiations and all that shit are occurring. It's just, that is how it is. Let's move on. I don't want to spend any more time on that. What does Dallas smell like? It smells like Texas. Actually, here's actually a shitty fact in the true sense of the word. I live in Plano, Texas, and for whatever reason, my roommate decided to buy a house that's near a sewage facility. It's pretty hidden. It's not on the road. You can't really see it. But every night, well, not every night, but some nights around 10 or 11 o'clock, it smells like shit outside. It's because they are processing the sewage. It smells really, really fucking bad. So sometimes it smells like shit, literally. Other times it smells like Texas, whatever that is. So, yeah. From Frostfire Bolt. Which server and faction do you play on in WoW? Can't wait to see you stream once Mist is released. Also, would you be interested in playing with the viewers for instances in new cross-realm zone feature? So I'm answering this question. It's a little bit old, but I play Horde on Magtheridon, or I did. I was intending on playing with viewers and doing things like that, but WoW's a shitty game to stream unless you have an audience for it. It's incredibly hard to grow a channel playing World of Warcraft because at the end of the day, if you're not a celebrity from that scene, I kind of was at one time, but not anymore. At least not in the big sense of the word. I wasn't a celebrity in terms of playing the game. It was because I did a podcast and was associated with MLG and a lot of other organizations like WSVG that ran World of Warcraft. But I don't think I'm gonna play it anymore. I can't raid. I can't do the 5 to 8 schedule each night because I'd rather stream something else. It's pretty shitty. So yeah, I think I'm done with WoW. Let's see here. Real talk with myself. Can we get this? Yeah, I'll be doing a real talk. Or some landmark episode. Probably episode 50. I think that's it. Can you bring, I can't actually say her name, Zoe on Real Talk. I can't say the rest of her name. I think many would be interested in seeing an interview with that girl. I don't think that a lot of the people, let me start here. A lot of people on Real Talk have done something that kind of no one else does. And maybe I don't know. The short answer is no. Long answer is I don't think that she warrants a real talk yet. To be fair, everyone else that's kind of been on the show has had a huge impact in some way on their perspective game. So let's see. One more question. The choice these days for a career, this is from Aur's name. Choice these days for a career in esports seems to be either and as part of the team or a content producer either on YouTube, Twitch, or casting. Do you think there are areas that haven't been explored that might sustain a career in esports? I think that a lot of people forget about production staff at events. In fact, I know that MLG just hired a new graphic designer recently. He had been working freelance for him for quite some time, and they hired him on full time. He lived in the New York area, so it worked out. That's one of them. It's hard because if you don't live in the immediate area, chances are you're probably not going to get a job with them. A lot of companies are reluctant to hire someone and have them work remote, obviously, just in any industry. And esports is such a global industry that unless you live kind of, unless you live in Seoul, Cologne, San Francisco, New York, or LA area, it's really hard to do anything league or content related except for like Twitch and YouTube. You can do that basically anywhere as long as you have good internet and everything. So in terms of things that haven't been explored, I don't know. I mean, there's pretty much everyone is doing, or every facet of esports has kind of been filled. So I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. I think that kind of everything's been filled. If there is something that hasn't, I don't even know if I want to say that because maybe I'll fill that position. I don't know. That's a really good question. What do you here? We'll leave this. This will be the question I throw back to you guys. What is there in terms of an area that hasn't been explored in esports yet? Leave a comment, and yeah, let me know. That's it here though for questions. Also, let me guys know if you'd rather me set up an email for this, or if you want me to just keep using FormSpring. We're finishing up Sleeping Dogs tonight on the stream. That'll be going live probably about 45 minutes from now, a little bit later. I gotta go cook some food. And then, let's see, tomorrow I'll be playing Resident Evil 5, not 6. Co-op with Live in Pink on the stream. That'll be going down at 6 EST, midnight CEST. And then next Tuesday we've got Dishonored. So that's going to do it. I think I'm going to stick with this class in Torchlight, by the way. I enjoyed it. So we'll see you guys later. I'm out. I've answered questions. We'll see you next time here for Friday Mailbag. Peace.